everyone. I'm teacher Winnie. So I'm the physics teacher who's going to guide you all through the Selangor State Paper 2021. So we're going to discuss on this paper 2. So for information, the whole paper 2 have 8 structured questions and also 3 essay questions. So we will go through each question section by section. Okay, so for questions 1 is actually come from Form 5, last chapter, chapter 7, 7.1, quantum theory of light. So based on the questions, given an equation relating the photon energy E and the frequency of light F, what is the meaning of frequency? So this one is asking on the definition, the knowledge part. So basically frequency is number of complete oscillation in 1 second. So you need to give full definitions. And based on the equation given, what is this E refer to? E is actually photon energy. And then F is actually frequency. While H is a constant, and this constant is referred to Planck constant. So complete the following sentences by ticking the correct answer. So we just stick like that. And you will actually get 2 marks already for A and B. Moving on, for part C, what is the SI unit for H? So from the equation given just now, E equals to H, F. And you rearrange, you will have F equals to, H equals to E over F. So what is the unit for E? E is energy, so the unit will be joule. While frequency, the unit is hertz, or you can actually make it become per second. So up is up to you lah. Okay, so for this idea, you will basically get joule per hertz. But it's not so common. We use the hertz in the Planck constant. So if you know that frequency is also the inverse of period, that means another unit for frequency is actually per second. Okay, and hence you will have another formula, H equals to E over F. E is joule, F is per second. So you per second, hence you'll get back joule second. But they still accept lah if you would to give either one, this or this. Okay, then moving on, what will happen to the photon energy if frequency of light increases? So every time you can get the relationship from the equation. If the frequency increases, therefore the photon energy also will increases. So this is how you get the answer. So the answer is increases. Okay, so this is for first question, and we'll proceed to the next questions. Questions 2. Questions 2 is from Form 4, Chapter 3, Gravitation, first topic itself. So we look at the questions again. Diagram 2 shows the Earth, the Moon, and a satellite. And there is a gravitational force acting on the Earth, Moon, and satellite. So what is the meaning of gravitational force? So this gravitational force is referred to the force in the universe. So therefore, the simple answer is we can call this gravitational force as universal force, or force that acting on bodies in the universe, which means any two objects. And if you all remember the formula for gravitational force, basically for this topic itself is G m over r squared. Okay, where this big M is mass of one of the object and small m is another body. Okay, then this gravitational force is basically directly proportional to the mass, but inversely proportional to the distance between the two objects. If the two objects have greater mass, then the force is greater. Okay, or the distance is smaller, then the force is greater. So this is basic concept on this topic. So we proceed to the next part for B. Calculate the gravitational force between the Earth and the satellite, which means now you're going to apply the formula that I showed just now, which is F equals to capital G, then M small m over r squared. So every time when you read through the calculation questions, make it a habit by writing the informations on top, especially the symbol on the given value for all the quantity. So Earth mass, so we assume Earth mass is capital M, satellite mass is small m, then the distance between will be r. Okay, and given this constant is called gravitational constant G. So you have all the information which is G, M, R squared. Then you can actually straight away sub the value inside and get the final answer. And the next thing, before you sub all the value, make sure all the value are in their SI unit, which means if let's say the given mass for satellite is in gram, you have to change to kilogram. So now we will substitute all the value inside. 6.67 times 10 power negative 11 multiply with capital M 5.97 times 10 power 24 times 1.2 times 10 power 3. Then the whole thing you're going to divide with the R square, which is 7.87 times 10 power of 6 bracket and square it. And always make a habit if you using the normal calculator, you make sure whatever you divide right below, you must bracket it. If not, maybe sometime your answer will be different because the way how you calculate is wrong. Okay, hence you will get the answer about 7.71 times 10 power of 3 Newton. Okay, so this is how you solve the calculations question, applications questions. Okay, then moving on, we will have the understanding of why questions. Which pair of body experience the smallest gravitational force? Give a reason for your answer. So these questions means you are going to compare who? You're going to compare whether it is satellite or moon. I think I use, okay, just circle. Okay. Or you compare satellite with Earth, or you compare moon with Earth. So which pairs of bodies basically will have the smallest force? So you see, you will back to the basic equation one, which is what? F equals to G M over R squared. Okay, so among these three bodies, which two objects have the smallest mass? If you look at the equation just now, also you know the mass of the Earth, right? And also the satellite and the moon. So of course, satellite and moon will have the smallest mass. Okay, hence their force will be the smallest. So you just give the answer as moon and satellite because smaller mass produced by both objects. Yeah, so this is for questions 2. Question 3 is from 4, chapter 5, first topic regarding fundamental of wave. Okay, so given questions, diagram 3 shows the sound wave produced in air when a gong is hit by a hammer. State the type of sound wave. So basically, we can classify wave into 3 ways. The first one, you classify wave as transverse wave and longitudinal wave. You can classify wave as mechanical wave and electromagnetic wave, and also progressive wave and stationary wave. So therefore, for this context, you can use the first one, basic. So sound wave is basically longitudinal wave. You just write longitudinal wave will do. And the only example for longitudinal wave is basically sound wave. The rest of the wave like electromagnetic wave, water wave, light wave, they are all under transverse wave. Okay, so what is a property for longitudinal wave? Basically, for sound wave, we will normally use the line to represent the idea of sound wave, where you will see the region where they are compressed together or they are far away from each other. So like these questions, you see B1, name the region X. So basically this part X, this is also X, this is also X. The part that where all the particles are away from each other, the idea is called rarefaction. Yeah, rarefactions. If they are come closer together, like this part, then this region is referred to compressions, where the pressure is high on this region as well. So how the sound actually travel? They travel through the air particle. When the air particle compress, rarefact, compress, rarefact, okay, and until reach to your ears. Okay, then how do you get the wavelength from the diagram, okay, for sound wave? So basically, to get the wavelength is actually either you calculate from one compression to the next compression, or you can also get the wavelength from one rarefaction to the next rarefaction. So giving the value in the diagram, you have 0.8 and 1.2. So which one is the proper one based on my explanation? So of course, the 1.2 will be the wavelength itself. Sometimes they may give you an example. Sometimes the questions they will give you maybe 3, like that from here. So you calculate 1, 2, 3, and then you divide 3 if for the given length. Okay, so this is the answer, and then we proceed to the next part. Speed of sound in the air is 330 meters per second. Calculate the frequency of the sound wave. So what is the formula that involved in this topic? The formula involved is V equals to F lambda. So again, given questions, you have speed V, and then they want you to calculate F. And just now, lambda from the previous part, you already get 1.2 meter. Hence, you rearrange the formula to become F equals to V over lambda, and you just sub accordingly, and then press your calculator, and you will get the answer. And again, before you sub, you must make sure everything is in SI unit. So like these questions is in meter per second, and then this in meter. So you can just straight away sub, and you'll get the correct final answer. And make sure you give the final unit. The frequency is in hertz. In hertz. Okay, so the value is 275. The answer is 275 hertz. Then moving on for the last part. When sound travels through water, what happened to the speed of wave? Okay, so this one is actually they compare in air because just now you see the questions, they use the gong and heat, and the sound is produced in the air. So if you were to compare the speed of sound in air versus in water. So in water, they will actually increase this one or faster. How come? Because the particle in the air compared to the particle in the water. Water, they are closer, right? And they may glide through each other, the arrangement of particle. But then in air, they are random and far apart. So when the medium is closer, the sound transfer is also faster. So this is the idea. So this is for questions 3. Okay, so for paper 2, question 1 to 3 is like low-level questions, like they ask your understanding, knowledge, or a little bit on applications. But then questions 4 onwards until questions 8, the allocation of marks is 9 marks, and they may be involved high-level questions like applications, making decision, problem solving, or even conceptualization questions. So questions 4 is actually applications where you need to apply the concept into the problem solving idea. So let's look at questions 4. Question 4 is under Form 5 topic, forces and motion. The first topic itself regarding resultant force on the pulley system. Diagram 4 show a monkey has a firm hold on a light rope that passes over a frictionless pulley and it is attached to a 15 kg bunch of banana. The monkey and the bananas are in equilibrium. What is the resultant force act on the pulley system? Okay, so the keyword for these questions is they have the words, they are in equilibrium. So what is mean by equilibrium? Equilibrium means the resultant force acting on the system is zero. So in short, we normally say a net force. Okay, so therefore, on the right hand side, you will have the weight of the bananas, which is actually 15 kg of mass. If you were to find the weight, right, you will use W equals to mg lah. Okay, they will be equivalent to the weight of the monkey as well. So these are the two given force that act on the weight which act on the system. Okay, so what is the resultant force? You can really write 0 Newton like this, or you can write in words 0. Then indicate the direction of forces, label all the forces that act on the monkey. So what I show you right now is they want, okay, the forces that act on the monkey. So the basic idea, we focus on the monkey. You will have the weight idea, and you also will have a string with the tensions acting in opposite direction. And the direction of tension is always away from the object. So I always tell students, you pull your hair, you feel the tension, you don't push. Okay, by right, in actual facts, there will be two directions, but due to calculations and the concept, we will always let the tension to be opposite direction. So here's the way how you write, and then you label the given forces. So what is the weight of the monkey? So what is the formula for weight? Weight is W equals to mg. Okay, and like I mentioned just now, the weight of the bananas must be the same as the weight of the monkey. So therefore, the mass of the monkey is supposed to be 15 kg as well. And G is 9.81. Hence, you will have the answer for the weight as 147.15 Newton. Make sure you write the unit. Of course, you can only you can just straight away write the final answer only if you want to. But if you know the formula and you can show the substitution, you can also show the whole things. Because sometimes maybe you press calculator wrongly, but if you to show your answer correct, what means the substitution, sometimes they may also give you the marks depending on situations. D. Another monkey of mass 12 kg saw the banana and jumped toward the bananas and hold the end of the rope X. What happened to the motion of both monkeys? So now the scenario is, there is another monkey as well holding together, right? So which means what happened to the left hand side? The total weight will be increases. Then the system is no longer in equilibrium. And of course, the monkey will actually, both monkey will actually move down on the left-hand side. Agree? Okay. And because there is a net force acting on the system, and therefore, if you were to have the net force, mean resultant force. So in general concept, net force is equals to mass times acceleration. Okay, if you were to have net force, that means you will have the acceleration also. So you will be able to give the answer more specifically, whereby you're saying that both monkey actually accelerate downwards. Okay, which means there will be a resultant force acting. Okay, then moving on, next idea. Okay, so this is involving a formula and calculations idea. So diagram 4 show a monkey. Now you have another one, like just now the scenario, the monkey. There are two monkey now. They are continue on the questions. So now this is on E1. So because there is not equilibrium anymore, that's why the system have the acceleration. Okay, so you're going to calculate now. So for you to solve the pulley questions, right? First thing, you all need to label all the given force in the whole system. So initially, you already label the tension, and then the downward one is the weight. But then now this weight is changed because you have two monkeys instead of one. Okay, then at the right hand side, similarly, the bananas also will have their weight. They also will have the tension. Okay, so how do you solve these questions? So easy way, I always tell students, you split the system into two parts. That means you split the system into left hand side like this. Okay, and then you split the system on right hand side like this. And then you form two respective equation. Form two respective equation. So assuming we just focus on left hand side, so I cover the right hand side, so you will have a better view and not confused. Okay, by the way, yeah, you need to label one more things, which is the acceleration as well. Okay, so I'm going to label the acceleration first also. So like I show you all just now on the previous part, the two monkey will move downwards, right? And I say there will be an acceleration. Okay, so that's why left side will be downwards with acceleration. Therefore, the left side down, up will be half. The right side will be up, right? Yeah, so this is what you're supposed to see. So now we covered this side. It will be easier to form the equation. So we're going to form two equations now. So for left-hand side, we form the one equation. So for the basic concept that you're supposed to know is F net equals to MA. We always apply this formula one. Okay, F net equals to MA. So for this context, right, the acceleration is downward. So therefore, your downward force should be greater and bigger. Okay, by the way, we find out the value of weight first. So later on, we can straight away show the value. Okay, so the weight now, as the mass of these monkeys is 15, correct? And then if we look back on the previous questions, very quick, you should know that y is fall down from D because of this 12 kg. 12 kg. Okay, so therefore, now the total mass for both will be 15 plus 12. This one I just draw on it. One is 12 kg. This 15 kg. Okay, so the weight will be 27 times 9.81. And then you get the weight 264.87 Newton. Now, the idea of this net force, we always want it to be in positive value. So like I mentioned, your downward force is greater. That's why the weight is greater than tension, right? So the net force idea, how do we get net force? By right, for idea on forces, they are vector quantity. So we always denote like one direction is positive, one direction is negative. But in this context, we will always assume smaller force is negative. So later on, our answer is do not have so many negative, like confusing a bit. So that's why the net force in this context is 264.87 minus tension. Then equals to MA. The M is referred to the total mass. M, so it's 27A. So I formed the equations already. Okay, so if let's say you all are not familiar with the idea of resultant force. I just show you a very simple idea. You have an object. There is a 5 Newton acting upward. Then downward, you have a 8 Newton example. So if I were to ask you what is the net force of this system, so 8 is greater, correct? So basically, we're supposed to write 8 plus -5, right? Because we assume upward is negative direction, downward is positive. Therefore, we will have what? 3 Newton, no? Because my answer is positive, that means it's refer to downwards. So the idea is same for what I show you here. Okay, okay. So now we move to the other side, or we try to form the next equation. Okay, and I shift the equation from this side to here, and I label as equation 1. Okay, then moving on, I will form the next equation for the bananas side. Okay, now you see the difference is the acceleration, right? For this case, is upward now. The acceleration now is upward. Agree? So if it is upward, that means tension is greater or weight of the bananas will be greater in this context. The direction of acceleration is always follow the direction of net force. So therefore, in this context, your tension have to greater than weight now. Okay, so same thing, I find out what is the weight of the bananas first. So the weight of the banana will be 15 times 9.81. Okay, I will get 147.15 Newton. So you still back to the basic formula whereby you are using what? F net equals to MA. And the case for this now is T minus W, because teacher assume up is positive now, down is negative. Because we always want the net force to be in positive idea. Can? So instead of like just now, you use W minus T, right? Become T minus W. This one is always the part that confuse student when form equation. Okay, so therefore I will have T minus 147.15 equals to mm is referred to the mass of the bananas only, which is 15A. Hence, I formed the second equation already. So the moment I finish forming both equation, then in the equation, you have two unknowns, right? And you have two equations. So you can solve it by using simultaneous equation. Or you can do substitution or eliminations, up to you, as long as your maths is good and at the end you have the correct final answer. So I normally will use eliminations or to cancel out the idea of tension first. Then only sub. Okay, so to eliminate the tension, negative T should plus T or minus T. Plus, right? So that's why I will use equation 1 plus equation 2. Hence, I will have 246.87 plus negative, so minus back 147.15 equals to 27A plus 15A. So you have 117.72 Newton equals to, okay, you no need to write the unit. Yeah, during substitution, you no need to write the unit inside one. Equals to 42A. So hence your acceleration will be 2.803 ms negative 2. Must write the unit. The unit for acceleration is meter per second per second. Okay, then for you to get the tension, you can just sub the value of A in any of the equation. No? So I can actually sub what? A into equation 2. So hence I will have T minus 147.15 equals to 15 times 2.803. Then T equals to what? What you get from here, which is 42.0428 or 429 lah, plus 147.15. And hence you will get 189 point, about lah, 2 decimal point will be 19 lah, or 193 Newton. Okay, tension is a type of force, so the unit is Newton. Okay, so this is how you all solve the questions for pulley under the first subtopic in chapter 1.5. Now, of course, if you were to able to find the tension first, some people you use substitution and then you get tension first. Then only you get this as the final answer, right? First, okay, you can actually later on sub and then get the acceleration the other way around. So the sequence for E1 and 2, right, it can be interchangeable because you may get the idea for tension first, then only you get the answer for acceleration. So it's acceptable one. They can be interchangeable. Okay. So this is for questions 4, total marks of 9 marks. Now, moving on to questions 5 and questions 6, we call this type of question as conceptualization questions, whereby they always will show 2 diagrams and ask you all to compare the diagram. So if you would to have a familiar terms or you understand certain key terms in those topic in physics, basically it will not be hard for you all to make comparison. You just need to be observant, look at the diagram and really compare it correctly. And of course, for conceptualization questions, they're not always like one should be greater than the other one or smaller than the other one. They can be also have the context of same. Yeah, so we will look into these questions. So this questions is under wave topic 5.6, interference of wave. Okay, diagram 5.1, 5.2 show the fringes form when identical monochromatic light pass through the double slit. So what is mean by monochromatic light? So basically monochromatic, the word mono means one. Okay, so it means the wave with one color, or in the another term you can say light with one wavelength, because different color light, they will have different wavelength, where red will be the longest wavelength. So based on those diagram, compare the distance between the slit. Okay, so you all need to know where is the distance between the slit. So obviously on diagram they show you, right? So you can say the distance between the slit for diagram 5.2 is greater, or 5.1 is smaller, vice versa, correct? A is higher for this one. Then compare the wavelength of the light that passed through the double slit. So based on these questions, they already say identical light. Identical light means same color of light lah. So if same color, what happened to the wavelength of the light? They should be the same as well. So that's why this context, you will have the answer same. Okay, so bear in mind, you all have to, when answer this type of questions, right, even though it is easy, but then you all do not like short form. Like sometimes most students have the habit, like the one example, how you all write the answer. They just write so general, like, oh, 5.2 bigger. Wow, very short, right? You don't even tell what is the subject. So it's actually not acceptable. Get the idea? Make it a habit, write full terms. What distance or slit separation, and the distance between the slit is actually same meaning. Okay, don't like so lazy lah. So lazy, just write partly. Of course, you can use the greater sign or smaller sign, or you memang can just say is longer or bigger. You all can use this term, longer, bigger. No, didn't use sign also okay. Okay, then B3 and 4 now. Compare the distance between the double slit and the screen. So what is mean by the distance between the double slit and screen? So they already labeled this for you, what? Double slit screen. That means it's referred to what? It refer to this part now. Or actually in short, we call them as D lah, in symbol for interference, capital D. Yeah, we call them as capital D. Again, 6 meters is the same or not? Same. So you can just say same. Then lastly, compare the distance between the two fringes. You see, they label in the diagram. So even though you may not know X is referred to what, A is what, D is what, but it's a very key terms in the wave topic lah, interference. If you all go through it, you're supposed to know all this symbol clearly. Okay, so for this context now, 5.2 will be smaller, correct? X now here is smaller compared to this one is bigger. So then you just say, look, the distance between the fringes X for diagram 5.2 is smaller, or 5.1 is bigger. So therefore, like just now, if you still remember, this A is big, what? Then this one is smaller, right? You just base on what you observe, and then you tell the final relationship. Okay, so what is the relationship between X and A? So when A increases, X decreases. Agree? Or you can say what? They are actually inversely proportional. So here is how you give the answer. How you give the answer. You can also say inversely proportional. But don't just give simple lah. You can say A is inversely proportional to X. Acceptable. Okay. Then move on is calculation part lah. Based on diagram 5.1. 5.1 so you don't look at 5.2 always read the questions. Don't do questions and then without read carefully then you may simply just choose one of the diagram, then finally you make mistake lah. They say the distance, the slit separation is 0.2. A is 0.2 mm. And then they also tell you the wavelength is 450 nanometer. They want X or Y. They want you to calculate Y. Okay, so what is the formula under this topic is, you need to know this lah, lambda equals to AX over D. This is the equation that relate wavelength, then the slit separation, distance between the fringes and screen together. And of course, this context, I cannot directly get Y first. I need to get what? I need to get X first. Then only I can calculate Y. So we get the idea of X first. So I rearrange the formula. I will have X equals to lambda D over A. Okay, now when you do substitution, something that you need to be careful. You look at all the unit of all this length. Are they going to be same unit or not? D is in 6 meter. A is millimeter. Lambda is nanometer. They are not in the same unit, which means they have the prefix. Prefix is the milli, nano. All this you all need to have a firm basics on chapter 1 on the prefix idea or lower form. That time you're supposed to know this. Okay, so if you forgot, then now you all recall back. Milli is 10 power negative 3. Nano is 10 power negative 9. You don't know this, then your final answer will be wrong one, right? Now you know already, then only you during substitution is not in the actual standard form, no problem. But final answer, standard form, as you all know, this value or A, it should be less or equals to, less than 10, but more or equals to 1. But substitution wise is okay. You can just accordingly put everything inside. A is 2 times 10 power negative 3. Bear in mind, when you press calculator, put bracket for anything that you divide below, unless your calculator already have the form in a fraction form 1, or else you all will always have the different answer. Or the next way, I always tell students, you all solve part by part. You calculate what is top, then only calculate bottom, then you get the final answer. If you worried the way you always press calculator wrongly one. So you're supposed to get 1.35 times 10 power of -3. -3. I try one more time. Yes. Okay, and the unit is meter law because I changed everything into meter already. But my final answer is not meter yet. So they want the distance of y. Now, x is the distance between the two fringes, not the number of fringes. So how do you count x? Okay, from here to here. Okay, you count the gap. You get the idea? 1x, 2x, 3, and 4x. So y is actually equivalent to 4x. Then you do one more step. 4 times 1.35 times 10 power -3. Then only you get the final answer for y. So which is 5.4 times 10 power -3 meter. Then only you complete. So read the questions carefully, or else you all like always this question we want to find x one. You didn't read the questions carefully, or you didn't even look at the diagram. So we've finished the first conceptualization questions. Now we will move on to the next questions. It's still conceptualization questions. You can choose to change to normal form, not in standard form. It's not a problem. You can do so one. Just now teacher write the final answer in this standard form. But when your calculator appear to be 0. something something, yes, you can still write like that, unless the questions request you all to write in standard form. Also, no worry, you all can perform in this form, or unless the number is very, very small, very, very big. Example 0.0000725 example. So it's kind of hard for you to count the number of zeros. So it's easier to perform it in standard form. Okay. So question 6 is another conceptualization questions, which also consists of 9 marks. Is under Form 5 Chapter 3 Electricity under the topic for resistance. Okay, they really like to ask regarding definitions one. So what is the meaning of potential difference? Another name for potential difference is voltage. Okay, so of course, you can use formula idea to perform it, the definitions, but you cannot use any formula that have the quantity V to give the answer one. So for this context, you really need to be clear lah, like current, like voltage, what is the actual definition? So the actual definition for voltage, potential difference is energy required to drive 1 coulomb of charge between 2 points in an electrical circuit, or you can replace the word with work done, same thing one. It can be work done, it can be energy, no problem. Okay, because the transform energy is equivalent to work done. Or in general, the formula for potential difference, to define potential difference, is W over Q. If you know the definition, I'm talking about definition. Okay, so or E equals E over Q. So you see, you have the context of the work done as a keyword in your definition, and then charge. Or you memang can give in the terms lah. Okay, so at the same time, teacher also recall back with you what is the definition for current then. Okay, current I will be basically rate of flow of charge Q over T. So when you define, you use this idea to define. But of course, you cannot write symbol alone. You cannot just write like that. If let's say you all write full terms as formula, potential difference equals to work done over charge accept. Okay, but you just write this symbol only cannot. Clear? Then another idea that you're supposed to aware is in this topic, memang you have a very famous formula to relate a current, voltage, and resistance, right? Which is V equals to IR. So a lot of times students will use this to define. Are you the one who use this to define as well? Then cannot. Yes, this formula can use for calculation, but this is not the meaning for potential difference. The product of current and resistance. No, this is not definition, not definition. Yeah, so that's why sometimes you all ask teacher, teacher, which one should be used as the definition, all this. So you all need to be careful of certain topic, not like the formula, any formula also can use as definition. But actually this is the formula for you to be defined resistance I equals to V over I. But you don't use the word over also. You either write in the formula way like this, full terms, always remember full terms. Resistance equal voltage over current, but do not use what? Just the symbol alone or the word over. Okay, then we move on to the next part. Conceptualization means you compare the questions, compare two diagrams. So first thing, you compare the length of the constant wire. So obviously this one, the length, this is the part lah, right? This is called constant wire. Of course, they didn't label, but you're supposed to have the idea lah, or else you don't know where to find, right? So of course, this one is long, this one is short. So either you use either way. You can just write full term again. The length of constant wire in 6.1A is longer. That's it. Or 6.2A is shorter. Next, resistance. Okay, so how do you calculate resistance in this context? You have this V versus I graph. Actually, this is the graph for Ohm's law as well. Ohm's law. So Ohm's law state that what? V is directly proportional to I if other physical condition like temperature, all this is constant. Okay, and you're supposed to obtain a straight line graph cut through 0. And what is the gradient of the graph represent? Gradient is V over I, right? Y again, X graph. Therefore, this V over I is equivalent to resistance. You need to know this idea lah. This one you need to think one more step, or else you don't know how to compare. So, which graph have a higher gradient? Steeper. This one, right? So that's why the resistance is higher for this one. The resistance is lower for this one. Okay, so you see longer length, higher resistance. Right, this is a concept, and of course, if you know the resistance, then you can answer this part straight away as well. So here you are. Oh, okay, because you didn't mention A and B also can, but it's good that you mentioned also 6.1A, 6.1B is higher. Again, for relationship questions, you can always use the term directly proportional or inversely proportional. So in this case, you can also say the length of the wire is directly proportional to the resistance. Okay, moving on, we have a bit on this calculation question problem solving. So calculate the effective resistance of the circuit. Diagram 6.3 show two resistors X and Y of resistance 20 ohm respectively are connected to dry cell 6 volt. Okay, so label first now. You have the resistance, this one 20 ohm, this one also 20 ohm. Okay, so this part is under the concept for parallel circuit and series circuit. These two resistors, they are arranged in series or parallel. Okay, so you all learn in lower form also, you're supposed to know how to calculate the resistance. Okay, so if you're my student, I normally will say, nowadays you all always press calculator directly. So you can straight away use R as the subject. Then 1 over 20 plus 1 over 20. But you need to inverse back the idea. The general formula is this one. You can still use this way lah. But you are my student, I will prefer you all to do this way. Okay. Then because everything now you press in the calculator, then you can straight away get the final answer. By right, you're supposed to get 220, then you inverse, right? So after you inverse, you get what? 10 ohm. But nothing wrong. If you start with 1 over R, you get the answer, then you get reverse R is acceptable one. Okay. Then next one, they want you to calculate the I. So this I is located where? You all need to be careful when solve series circuit and parallel circuit, because sometimes they can label over here. So when they come to junction, their speed become I1, I2 already. Okay, so for parallel circuit, the relationship of current is I equals to I1 plus I2. But in this context, the memang want the main current, we call it at main current straight away come out. Then you can always apply V equals to IR idea. Therefore, I equals to V over R. What is your total voltage? 6. What is your total resistance? 10. So for this kind of questions, you can always use V equals to R, but you just need to be careful. Are you using partly or the full current, full voltage, all this? The more question you all do, then you all will be aware on this. So it's 0.6 ampere. And part 3, the power dissipated of resistor. This one you all need to be careful already. They only want to know what is the power dissipated for this one resistor alone, not the whole circuit. So you're all supposed to know that there is a few formula for you all to get the power one, right? Which is P equals to VI, P equals to I square R, P equals to V square over R. So it's particularly on this 3.4 lah, right? So there is a simple way to derive out all the formula for electrical energy and power. Okay, but now I just straight away tell you all this, and you all need to know it yourself. Not all these 3 formula will be given in the exam. Normally the first one will be given in the formula list. Okay, so it seems like teacher, I think I have current. I also have the voltage. I have the R specifically for X. I only will use this 20 ohm, not all the 2 resistor, not this 10. Clear? Okay. So it seems like you have all the quantity, but not all the quantity can let you direct sub and get the final answer one. So for this context, you need to figure out, is the given voltage is for X same or difference, something like that. You all need to think about that. So parallel circuit, you all need to know the voltage across X, Vx, and the voltage across Y. They are parallel, parallel. So V is supposed to be equals to V1 equals to V2. Okay. So that means when I calculate, if I straight away use 6 volt, no problem. Then I say you need to use partly punya R only, Yeah, so better you use the formula that have voltage and R. This formula better. Why I don't use the first 2? I don't use this. I have 3 formula, 1, 2, 3. You can use the first 2, provided you know the current of I1. But I need to calculate. And it's quite easy to calculate for this case because you have 2 resistors, which is same resistor. So you just use your main current divided by 2, then 0.3. Clear? So, but I need to do 2 steps. I get 1 quantity, then I sub, then only I get. So number 3, I can straight away sub what? Right? Which means I can straight away put inside P equals to 6 square over 20. Then I can get my answer. So I get 1.8. What is the unit for power? Watt. Bear in mind, in exam, all the unit is very important. You don't like very good in memorizing all the formula, then you also can calculate, but at the end you didn't write the unit. No unit, then they may not give you marks. Then you can get the final answer correctly, but 0 marks. So it's rugi lah, rugi. Okay, so I hope that you all have a better idea under the electricity topic. Then we move on to one more part. Okay. So for C, for D, okay, what will happen to the current if the resistor X is removed? So if you remember, initially we have our total R is what? 10 ohm, right? Just now from a previous part. So now if you remove the X, that means now your circuit become what? only one resistor, right? Y alone only, they become like that. So again, initially, both resistor is 20 ohm, 20 ohm. So now you only have Y alone. So you see what happened to your resistance if you only have one resistor now. So your resistance actually increases, agree? Then what happened to the current? Okay, so the relationship between current and resistance, they are actually inversely proportional. R is inversely proportional to current, which means if your resistance is high, your current have to be less, because resistance is the opposition of the flow of electrons. So the answer, very direct, 1 marks. They didn't ask you to explain also. Okay, they didn't ask you all to explain. Hence, therefore, you can just straight away give the answer as decreases. That's it. Okay. Now we're done with the conceptualization questions. Okay, question 7 in structured questions, right? 7, they are similar like the partly lah on the essay questions for this problem solving idea one, whereby you need to modify something to give a better answer and so on. Yeah, so this is relating to like towards similar like essay questions pattern. But somehow all the questions also, they always start with basic one like definitions, then they move on to the difficult idea lah, like use formula solve question or ask you why in your questions. Okay, so diagram 7.1a, 7.2b show two actions on landing activity by two athletes. Both athletes jump from the same height and fall on the same ground. Name the force that caused the athlete to fall down. So why they actually fall down? Because they are attracted by what? Gravitational force. Agree? Yeah. So this is still under forces and motion for Form 4. Okay, that link with freeform motion a bit. Gravitational force. Then next, 2.7 is actually impulse and impulsive force topic. Okay, so now they want you to calculate the impulsive force act on athlete A and athlete B. Given both athletes have the mass of 50 kg, jumped and landed with a velocity 4 meters per second before touch the ground. And the landed time taken for both is 0.5 and 0.2 respectively. So again, of course, to solve these questions, you all need to know what is impulsive force. So impulsive force is what? Impulsive force is rate of change of momentum. So in formula, you have F equals to mv minus mu over t, where m is mass, v is final velocity, u is initial velocity. And the relationship between force and time, they are inversely proportional. So like this case, athlete A, the time taken is longer, right? Later on, when you calculate, you will notice the force produced is lesser. Okay, while for B, the time taken is shorter, right? If the time taken is shorter, that means the force acted on the athlete B will be greater later on. So, like I showed in the equation, what is the effect of time towards impulsive force? They are inversely proportional. They are inversely proportional. Okay, I show you all the answer straight away. Yeah. Of course, again, you all need to know the given quantity. This is m, this is time. Okay, this is for first one, this is second one. But they all landed with the same final velocity, which is 4. Again, I show you all the formula again, mv minus mu over t. So this part is totally 0 because initial velocity is 0. Okay, so for relationship idea, you can write like this, longer the time, the smaller the force. Okay, and all impulsive force is inversely proportional to time. So like I mentioned, surely B will have a greater force because the time is shorter compared to this one, the time is longer. So this part is like I say, making decision idea or similar like essay. It's just that they are simple lah. They do not have more aspect. Like they only have 2 aspects on material for the ground and height of the glider. Okay, so suggest the suitable characteristic of the for the playground based on the following aspect. Okay, so similar one like essay question. Normally, of course, you will just divide by writing the choice at the end. But then in general overview, you should roughly get the idea which type is the best. So we go through this idea together first. Diagram 7.3 show a set of playing equipment to be placed in children playground. Table 1 show 3 types of the ground and the height of the glider for the playground. So the suggests the suitable characteristic. Okay, then they want to give this playground to who? Children, understand? Children playground. So of course, for children, the safety wise is the most important idea. Okay, so normally what type of material is suitable in playground? So of course, we should supposed to have something on rubber, right? Wood is not so suitable. Plastic, depending on what type plastic lah. But somehow these two is kind of hard. Okay, but we're not sure whether it's suitable or not. We can also look in terms of the context of height first. Height, so it's only for children. If for children, your height should be higher or lower? Cannot be too high, right? Because if it is too high, that means when the if this one compared to the height, which is 3 meters, this is 1 meter. Okay, so if it is higher, that means when the children glide down, the speed will be very fast. What? Right, this one kind of slow, but they still can enjoy playing. So of course, better it is shorter. So that's why it seems like P is the best choice, right? Then only you start to figure out what is the reason. Okay, so in terms of material wise, you can always give direct. You don't need to describe the material. You can just straight away say rubber. Reason, rubber is softer. And of course, when it is softer, we always link with the impulsive force questions. Okay, but it is soft, that means the time of impact is long, impulsive force is less. Okay, you can use all this as a reason. Reason. Then, in terms of numbers, right? They want the height of glider now. So I will always tell students, same like essay one. If you see number, right, don't give number. Don't give number, but you describe. Because the justification idea is like in general, it should be high or low. You no need to specify. Clear? So that's why you use a term lower or shorter also can. The similar idea lah, will do already one. The reason like I explained, you reduce speed or velocity can or momentum. Okay, because when the height is shorter, then when you glide down, then the speed is slow down. And therefore, your choice memang P. Same thing, you are not allowed to don't give number, and also a lot of time the slight mistake done by some student is they write all P for part 1 because they think they want to choose P already like this one you write P, no. Okay, don't give number, don't give P. Okay, this is the way how you answer this type of questions. Okay, so for the last questions, for structured questions, right? Again, they will be partly similar like essay questions on problem solving, or they want you to modify something later on you will see this context. Okay, so for questions 8, the topic is under form 5. We have this chapter 4 on 4.1. 4.1, the topic is on 4.1. Okay, so we will get the idea. So 4.1 is the principle of how a motor works. So how the force is being produced. So for the idea on this force on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, okay, the concept behind is the permanent magnet, they actually produce a magnetic field, okay? So I use blue color as the field direction, which acted upwards. So they will actually have the field, okay? At the same time, the rod, they also will produce magnetic field. So the field on this current carrying conductor, the yellow rod, is basically in terms of circular. So I sketch out the idea first. So what happened to this field with the blue color field is they will actually interact and they will combine and produce a catapult field. Okay, so you can basically use Fleming left-hand rule to determine the direction of the force produced. So this is just a concept first, then later on only teacher complete A for you. So by right, the current will flow from positive to negative. So the current flow on the rod is, let's say teacher label A and B. The current will be flow from A to B. A to B means if you all know the idea of the dot and cross. Okay, so normally in some questions they use 2 dimensions. So cross means the current into. If dot means the current up from the screen, from screen or paper lah, if you to have the question paper. So you're careful with the idea. So in this context is memang, if I transform in 2D, is into, and then you have the magnet south and then north. Okay. So by using the Fleming left-hand rule, FBI, okay, force is thumb, B is magnetic field, I is current. So current now is into the screen. That's mean like I pointing towards the screen. You imagine, all of you imagine now you are in front of computer screen. So you point this middle finger into. Then the index finger is the field. So I already point correctly, north to south, correct? So where is your thumb? Your thumb is point toward right side. So what happened is the concept after this field interact, right? They will actually cause the rod to move. This rod, they are movable one. So they will actually move this way after the field interact. Okay, so why they actually have force produced? Because when you combine this field, this is not the actual patterns. If you were to really recall back what you all learned in school, so the field on this circular field for the conductor, right? You actually use right-hand grip rule into. So the field direction is actually clockwise. So if you combine this field, left side, right? You look at the arrowhead, they are upward, right? But then left side, it seems like opposite already. So by right, they will combine and then produce an uneven field, some sort like this. If I redraw again, this is south, this is north, then this is into. So after you combine, right, you will have more field on this. This is called catapult field. This is the result. Of course, depending on the questions, sometimes they want you all to draw this also. Yeah. But then now, of course, they didn't ask you all. Okay, I just show you all this idea only. So the idea of force producing is they will actually from stronger field to weaker field. Sorry, this is the result. Okay, so now they want you to label current, magnetic field with M, direction of force F. So for current, you all really need to label in the rod lah, on the rod. Then you label I like this. Don't just from the outside circuit, current wave from positive to negative. Then for magnetic field, just now I also got show already, but no need to show so many arrow. So the magnetic field is from north to south. Then you label M. Then just now I show you how do you obtain the force through drawing and also with your Fleming left. Don't use the wrong hand. If you use the wrong hand, also you will obtain the wrong answer here. Okay, this is the force. Okay, like this, you already get 3 marks. So basically how this force is produced, so like I mentioned, when the current flow through this rod, they will have this electromagnetic field produced. And this electromagnetic fields, the circular one, the circular field, that interact with magnetic field for the permanent magnet and cause a resultant force. This is how it works. Or they cause a catapult field. Catapult field after you combine. Okay, so this is the way how you explain. When current flow through the copper rod, it will be magnetized, and electromagnetic field react with the permanent magnetic field, producing a force, or concept for how a force produced. Okay, then part C is the application under this topic. Suggest modification that can be done so that the electric motor is able to function effectively based on this aspect. So the thickness of the coil. So this is the initial state. That means what if I make this wire thicker now? Okay, so this you need to back to the basic concept. When the wire is thicker, resistance half lower. So that's why we can just say thicker. Reason, low resistance. Then this magnet, basically what you all see is sort of like rectangular shape, right? So normally for the structure of a motor or even generator, right, the magnet we use is supposed to be curved shape. Because if it is rectangular shape like this, right, then the field produced is basically parallel, just straight, north to south, like this. So if we were to curve shape, let's say teacher transform it into curve shape like this. So what happened is the field now there's some sort like radius, but then a field cannot intersect. By right I can draw like that, but no, we can just draw like that. They are curved inwards, like some sort like this. Curve inward like this, about north to south. So they basically will focus on anything or coil on the center. Clear? So this field is also called what field? Radial field. So we say curved magnet, then radial field produced. So this is the idea on problem solving questions. They want you to give your suggestion and reason. So of course, if you're not sure with the reason, then at least you try to give when they ask you thick or thin, you can just try give the reason. Yeah. So like I say, the thickness should be thick, while low resistance, then more current, the coil end up will rotate faster because the combined field produced will cause a greater force, so it will turn even faster. Then the shape is curve or U shape or C shape, or you just say curve or even concave. You can use the term concave. Or let's say you really don't know the term used, but you remember, just like I show you the drawing, right? You can draw it out also. Then the reason, produce radial fields. Okay, or you draw out again. Yeah, so sometimes they will just accept or how you all draw this. Okay, so I hope that you all learn a lot from the structured questions. Okay, we will proceed to essay questions then. Okay, now we are in the essay questions. So basically there are two types of essay. We have section B essay questions and also section C. So for section B essay question, they will always give you a table and then with different choices and ask you to choose which one is the best, which is the 10 marks out of the 20 marks for both questions 9 and 10. And you have the choice to either choose question 9 or questions 10. And nowadays, news labels, they will not like specify like all questions must be what means one question from form 4 or one question from form 5. They may be all from form 4 or even from 5. So that's why it is important that the more topic or chapter you're able to master for each chapters, then it will be better for you lah. So now we will look into questions 9, okay, which is the essay question in section B. Diagram 9.1 show a stainless steel straw in a glass of ice drink, and the stainless steel straw achieve thermal equilibrium. Okay, first, what is the meaning of thermal equilibrium? So this topic is related to Form 4, Chapter 4, Heat 4.1, thermal equilibrium. So, but the meaning of thermal equilibrium, you must have the two keywords when two objects in contact, right? So both objects must have what? At the end, they must have same temperature, And another key idea is there is no net flow of heat. No net flow of heat. So this two is the key term for you to give definitions. So essay questions, again, they always will have 1 mark for definition or principle. So this is the way how you give the answer. Two objects in thermal contact reach the same temperature and the net flow of heat is 0. And for essay questions, you're supposed to write in test pack. But the teacher show the answer directly on the screen so that it's easier for all you to revise on the particular topic by looking at the question and answer straight away instead of like answer at one part later on. Okay, so moving on, what we see part B. Based on the concept of thermal equilibrium, explain how the stainless steel straw become as cold as the ice drink in the glass. Okay, so for your understanding, you have two objects, stainless steel straw and also ice drink. Okay, so of course, comparing the temperature, stainless steel straw will have higher temperature. And then the ice drink, the temperature is lower. Okay, so if you're clear about the concept of the heat flow, right? The heat will always flow from hot to cold object. So therefore, the stainless steel initially, which is higher temperature, they will actually transfer heat to the ice drink. They will transfer heat to the ice drink. So this is keywords when you answer the conceptual concept, the knowledge and understanding part, all based on thermal equilibrium. So there is a heat transfer, or you can say there is a net heat transfer. That means more heat is transferring to the ice water. So this is first keyword. Then later on, you also explain regarding after some time, because you cannot have move object same temperature just right after you place the stainless steel straw, right? So you say after some time. Then you will back to the concept of this definition again, what happened is the two objects have the same temperature and there is no net flow of heat. So this is basic idea for you all to get 4 marks. This type of question always 4 marks. And you don't expect to give one sentences to get 4 marks. Yeah, so basically, yeah, this is the answer that you're supposed to give. Stainless steel straw are in contact with ice because you really must be in touch. You must touch each other, both objects. Then there is a net heat transferred from the straw to the ice because straw is higher temperature. Just now teacher mentioned already about ice is lower temperature as heat flow from a hot object to cold object. Then after some time, the net heat flow is 0. Thermal equilibrium is achieved. Then both have the same temperature. So this is how you all gain 4 marks for conceptual the questions. Then moving on, we have part C. This is what I mean. You all will always given a table and then you will choose which one is the best. So of course, for this type of questions, you're supposed to go through all the aspect for each design for the bag. And then you try to figure out which one is the best first. Then only you start to give the answer by construct a table. So diagram 9.2 show a food bag used by a student to bring his food to the school. And you notice that the food become cold during recess time. That means this bag is not good enough. So table 2 show the specification of 4 types of lunch bag, P, Q, R, and S that can be used by the student to bring his food to school. Okay, so basically, the given diagram is always quite helpful in the sense that sometimes you're not sure which part or which structure of the material object is. So if you look into it in detail, then you will get the idea. Oh, okay, food bag means the outer part agree? Then the inner layer of food bag, more specific already, right? So then only you start to go through all the items and idea. And of course, this type of questions that will involve the concept, maybe the whole chapter idea. So like this one particularly, you need to really know well about thermal equilibrium and also what is specific heat capacity. So we see, so is plastic or cloth better? Not really have any idea. If you all do not have any idea, maybe you think both also acceptable, right? Then you see other aspect first. Other aspect, okay. what happened to the inner layer of the food bag? Normally, it should be shiny surface or dull surface. So you figure out. If you're aware, right, most of the time, the inner layer, some sort like the aluminum foil idea one. Don't know you all ever bring your food by using the lunch bag or not lah. Yeah, so by right, it's supposed to be shiny. Why we actually choose shiny? Because it will be able to reflect heat, one of the idea. So once you know this dull surface is not correct, so that means your choice towards correct answer is closer already lah. Then moving on the context of the specific heat capacity of the food bag. So the food bag is the outer layer. What is the purpose of the outer layer? You want the heat to be lost through the outer layer or maintained. That means you want to prevent or reduce the heat loss to the surrounding. So if you want to reduce the heat loss, so what you can do is basically the specific capacity should be what? High. Okay, short form specific heat capacity. Okay, remember I got mentioned before, specific capacity, if the material is high, which means it's act like a heat insulator. If it act like a heat insulator, that means it will heat up slowly and also cool down slowly lah, like those plastic, wood, all this. Okay. Whereas if the material have low specific capacity, that means it will be easily heat up or easily lose heat. So therefore, if you want higher, like R, it seems like not so suitable already, correct? Among all four, it seems quite low. Okay, then it seems like you all actually able to choose the answer already, right? Okay, because if this one also cancel, that means you left P. Yeah. Okay, but you can see all the aspects first. So about density of the food bag. Should you want a bag which is heavier when you bring to school? No, right? Your books is very kind of heavy already. Or what more you want to bring a lunch bag which is also heavy, right? So normally density idea is linked to the mass. Yeah, so you want it to be lighter. So low is a proper idea. Okay, so again, so you will have the choice which is towards P. Now you get the idea already. Okay, then you're going to construct a table lah. If let's say you are first time doing essay questions. So for this type of questions, for physics, very easy one. We normally want the answer to be direct, okay, and then clear cut. So what you need to do is basically to answer this type of questions, you construct a table, then you actually make it into two columns. Left side, you write the aspect of specifications. And then the next one, you write explanation. Okay, then what you do is you explain the specification one by one. Which means you explain what happened to the plastic. I use another color. Okay, you explain it one by one. Okay, so for material wise, you can straight away say plastic. The surface also same, you say shiny surface. Okay, but whenever you see numbering, you all do not put the number straight away. You need to describe whether it is high or low. Then this one is like they already use the term high or low, then you follow only. Okay, so basically you just answer like that. The material should be plastic. Okay, then this one shiny. Then this one, like I say, you don't give number, you say high or low. Okay, so high specific heat capacity. And then lastly, you say low density. Then only you state your choice at the end. You say I choose P because P is how. What is this for specification? You put back. So if you choose correctly, you can get 6 marks out of 10 marks already without give the correct reason yet. Let's say you do know how to explain. You just know that, yeah, in common sense, this is what I see in daily life. So that's why this kind of questions, if you were able to choose correctly, it's some sort of like bonus, like you can get 6 marks, you know. The whole essay question is 20 marks only, right? Okay, so now we straight away jump into the answer. Okay, why the material should be plastic? So if you see slash, that means is either answer is acceptable lah. So because it is good heat insulator, high specific capacity, low conduction of heat, or is waterproof. Then the surface should be shiny. Why? Show that it's a good heat reflector. And like I mentioned, you mention high, instead of writing the number out, Okay, it's not acceptable or it's considered wrong. Okay, the purpose is to reduce heat loss to the surrounding or raise in temperature is small. Then low density is lighter, easy to carry or low mass lah. Then lastly, you say your choice. You choose P because the material is plastic, have shiny surface, high specific capacity, and low density. So this is how you all gain the 10 marks. Now, for the given explanation or reason, if you would to have more idea, you can always give more than one. If not, then you only give one, but you can give more. Why you actually encourage to give more if you are good in the concept, right? Is like sometimes maybe the point that you give is not so related. Okay, not so related. Example, you say plastic. So let's say you just say plastic is durable. Actually, nothing wrong with durable lah, huh? It's okay, maybe yes, or you can clean it just or wipe it easily, can clean easily. Example lah. You give this kind of answer, but it is not really the best answer, which what we want it to, our main concern about this lunch bag is to prevent the heat loss, because they don't want the food to be cold. So it's not that this thing is wrong, but it's like in exam, you like just so happen you write this thing, right? But it's nothing wrong, right? We won't minus your marks one. Bear in mind, your mark won't be deducted. Okay, provided you give something that is a wrong concept. So you can always give more idea. But so happen they accept durable, then you get 1 marks already. But if you get like example, you get durable, this one clean easily, waterproof. So happen waterproof is the answer that acceptable, then you get 1 marks, right? So that's why it's encouraged to give more points if you were to have good concept. But you're very confident that your answer is suitable and memang accurate, then it's okay. You can always give 1, because some people, their concept good, yeah, you can still able to score full marks for this part. Okay, then the last part under this type of essay question in section B is calculation questions. You always have the calculation questions one. Okay, so diagram 9.3 show a non-calibrated thermometer, and the thermometer had mercury column of length 4 cm as the temperature of 0 and 22 cm at 100 degree Celsius, and the mercury column becomes 17.5 cm when it immersed into the liquid P. So first, one reason why mercury is used as a liquid in the thermometer, of course, there is a quite number of characteristics of mercury. So for thermometer wise, first, mercury is opaque one, right? You cannot see through one. So you can give this idea. Or it can, it does not stick to the glass. Okay, and there will be more later on. I will show you more for the answer. Next, you're going to determine the temperature of liquid P. If the thermometer is not calibrated means you are not given scale. So the formula for this 4.1 alone is, if we want to find the temperature of the unknown liquid, right, you will need to use the ratio of the length. Okay, so the formula is theta equals to L theta minus L0 over L100 minus L0 times 100 degrees Celsius. So is the difference in between the 0 mark and 100 mark. So when we calibrate the thermometer, we actually immerse the thermometer first into the ice, example. So then the mercury liquid will have certain length. Example, this is 0 degrees Celsius. So you will have about some length. So this is called L0. This is what it means. Okay, so when we immerse it into the water, then it reaches 100 degrees Celsius of boiling water, steam. Okay, then from the ends up to here, this is what? L100. Then we want to find what? We want to find the temperature, like this one, liquid P is here, example. So this is the length that give you L theta. So we want to get the difference, because the difference between 0 and 100, right? Here to here is actually 100. cm or 100 division or 100 degrees Celsius. Sorry, I can say so. 100. Yeah, this one I write wrong. So this is by right 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. So that's why how do you obtain this part? The green part that I show. Okay. So you actually use L 100 minus L0, correct? Similarly, how do I obtain the part over here? So this part you use L theta minus L0, so you need to ignore the 0 part. So I hope that you know how to get this formula out. So L theta is what length? They are 17.5. This is L theta. Then this portion is L0. This is L100. Then pi minus 4 and 22 minus 4. Then times 100 degree Celsius. Okay, so you all calculate. So you're supposed to get 75 degrees Celsius. 75 degrees Celsius. Okay. Type one more time. Yes. But they want the unit to be in Kelvin. So how do you all change degrees Celsius to Kelvin? Okay. So you want to change it to Kelvin. You use degrees Celsius plus 273. Then they will be in the unit of Kelvin. Okay. So in Kelvin, you just need to use 75 plus 273. Therefore, your answer will be 348 Kelvin. So this is how you all get the answer lah. Okay, so I got tell you all just now, other option that you can give for the characteristic of the mercury liquid is it should be high boiling point, does not stick to the glass, opaque, uniform expansion and contraction. All this is acceptable. And just now the calculation and the formula I also show you already. How do you obtain this formula and you get the final answer? Okay, so this is the whole questions 9 lah. Okay, then now we move on to next questions, which is question 10. So for this paper, Selangor State paper, they are having the questions for from 5 topic chapter 2 pressure 2.5 regarding the Archimedes principle. Archimedes principle. Okay, so diagram 10.1 shows the apparatus used by a student to study Archimedes principle. Okay, whereby they want to see what is the relationship between the liquid displays and also the concept of buoyant force. So 10.1a show the metal block measured by a spring balance. That means this is the weight of object in where? This is the weight of object in air, right? In short, I normally call this as real weight lah, WR. Okay, real weight. Then later on 10.1b, this show the weight in where? When they immerse in the liquid. But then this one is only semi-submerged or partial lah. They did not fully submerge, right? Okay, they reduce. So why this reduce? This one is weight of object in water or fluid or already. So actually this is called apparent weight as well, WA. Okay, so how come they actually reduce by 6 Newton? Because actually this block now is acted by the buoyant force, which is upward, that causing the total weight of the block become less when it's in water. That's why it's very easy for a person in the swimming pool to carry another person or a kid's girl because you will feel it's like seems like the weight is really suddenly become lighter. Okay, so that's why we call this as apparent weight. But because this block is not fully immersed, right? So the buoyant force acted is also partially only by the part that is submerged only, this part. So now this whole block is fully submerged already. Yeah. So memang the buoyant force is also the weight lah of the liquid displaced then. Okay, so first they always like to ask about the definition. So what is mean by Archimedes principle? Okay, we just observe the first drawing and last drawing. Yeah, because it's more easy to get the concept of Archimedes principle. So Archimedes principle actually state that the buoyant force acting on the object, right, is actually equals to the weight of liquid displaced. So you see, initially you're at 20, then finally this 2 is considered as a parent weight already, WA. So why you feel lighter? Because it's acted by buoyant force. So this buoyant force is also can be used the real weight minus apparent weight idea to calculate that one. Okay, so therefore the buoyant force is 10 Newton for this case C. So when you calculate it, you get 10 Newton, right? So of course, when you try to submerge the block inside, what happened to the idea is the sprout here, the water will actually raise up. So the water will come out. So this is called the displaced water. So you submerge in until it's fully submerged inside the block. Then you go and measure the weight of this water alone. You'll notice this water also 10 Newton. So the general idea or the keywords on Archimedes principle is buoyant force is actually equals to the weight of liquid displaced. Okay, okay, but the full definitions okay, when we talk about Archimedes, we always say what an object which is partially or fully submerged in the fluid, it is acted by the buoyant force which is equals to the weight of the fluid displaced. Weight also means gas or water lah. So this is the concept of Archimedes principle. Okay, so again, for question 9 or 10, right, in section B essay, we always have a comparison questions one, similar like question 5 and 6 in structured. And of course, there is also a calculation questions lah. Sorry, this one is section B. No, it's calculation question. I make slight mistake. Yeah, so for these questions, is referring to the calculations. So for B, what is the buoyant force acting on the metal block in diagram 10B? What is the buoyant force? So just now teacher already tell you, all right, this weight is called real weight. Then this is apparent weight. Okay, so the one in B, so that's why easy lah. You straight away calculate the buoyant force by using 20 minus 14, but it's 1 mark, so you can straight away write 6 Newton if you want. Okay, then next you want to calculate the volume of metal block in this case. So to calculate the volume, we're going to use the concept of buoyant force equals to weight of liquid displaced. Buoyant force equals to weight of liquid displaced. So the formula for buoyant force is actually rho Vg. Okay, where rho is actually density of fluid. That means if you submerge it into the water, then it's density of water. You submerge it into the air, then it's the density of air. You submerge it into an alcohol liquid, then density of alcohol. Get it? Then this volume, the volume can be the volume of the object submerged. Object submerged. Or the volume of liquid displaced lah. Then G is gravitational acceleration. Gravitational acceleration, which is always 9.81, 9.81. Okay, so for this context, we'll use the idea in C instead of B because I want the full volume of the block, not partial, not this only, right? Okay, so do you have the buoyant force on the case C? Yes, so the buoyant force is actually 20 minus 10, which is 10 Newton. Then density, are they giving you? Yes, okay. G is always 9.81 So since they give you all this, that means you can calculate it already. Okay. So you're going to substitute the value inside. which is but I want to find V lah, so if possible I rearrange now. Volume is FB divided by density and G. So the buoyant force is 10 divided by 1 times 10 power of 3 bracket 9.81. So again, reminder, whenever you all press calculator, you must make sure you bracket whatever in the bottom. So what do you all get? It's about 1.019 times 10 power negative 3. And what is the unit for volume? Volume in meter cube. Okay. Now, of course, same thing. Before you straight away sub, you always also look into the unit. Like this case, your density unit is SI unit, kilogram per meter cube. So no problem. Then the value of G is 9.81 Newton per what means meter per second per second. Then the buoyant force is in Newton. So that's why it's not a big deal, you change unit lah. Okay, then diagram 10B and C show that the volume displaced of water increases when it is lower down, okay, into the water. But what if you continue to lower this block now? I erase this. So the idea will be, what if you continue to move this block even lower now? Now, in C, the block is already fully submerged, agree? So what you find also, the weight of the, what means liquid displaced and the buoyant force for it. Okay, so if you to even lower down, do you think the water still will displace up? No, because the volume of the block is equivalent to the volume of the liquid displaced already. Unless you raise it up, okay, and then there will be changes, but then the water will not revert lah for this case. So that's why in this context, because in cases they already fully, so that's why there is no change. But like this case, they just show you A and B, they didn't show you C. So yes, the water will keep on increase, or make sense, right? You submerge even more. So this is how you explain the part lah. Okay, so here is your answer, right? Like what I explained just now. Okay, then we move on to the next part. Okay, so for section B, you all will have a table and you are needed to choose the best answer. So the question stating that a deep submerged vehicle DSV is required by a marine mining company to carry out deep sea rescue operation. And the vehicle must be able to submerge and emerge quickly, travel at high horizontal speed, and carry a number of crew safely. Now, when you all read through these questions, it's good that you all highlight those keywords also, in the sense that what you want this vehicle to do. They want to emerge quickly, submerge, emerge quickly, and then high speed, and then carry safely. Okay, so when you highlight this, you also tell yourself, when you all give reason that time, do not repeat the explanation by using all the given term in the questions, because students have the tendency to give all this as a reason back. Okay, so the characteristic for those for DSV, PQRS are given in this table. Explain the suitability and determine which DSC should be chosen and give the reason for your choice. Okay, so you have four different shapes. Okay, and then with different tank and the number of pressurized air tank and also maximum pressure that we can withstood. Okay, so in terms of the shape of the submariner, normally we call this some sort of submariner. They're supposed to be streamlined or round. It's supposed to be streamlined lah. So what is the streamline? Streamline is similar like aerodynamic. That means you have sharp end at the front, so you can cut through the water when these move through. So they get cut through. They will reduce water resistance lah. So again, Q will be filled already. Okay, so in terms of the volume of ballast tank, you want to have more water or less water that can be filled in. and also displays out. Okay, the more the better lah, because there's more, you can make it submerge more ma, right? Yeah, it seems. So therefore, you're supposed to be cancel out the idea for the volume which is lesser compared to 9,000, and it's not less a bit, it's a lot. Oh, now you have left two choices. Okay, then next, number of pressurized air tank, it seems like to be higher, right? But we can see the last context as well, which is maximum pressure withstood. So maximum pressure withstood, what do you think? You want to withstand higher pressure or low pressure? Of course, higher is the best, right? But then Q already cancel ma. Okay, correct. So it seems like P will be the best choice. So once you all choose the best choice, then again, this type of questions, you all need to construct a table, understand? Then with given two column, left column is the specification lah, and right column is the explanation. So you just state only, okay, streamline. Then again, number, you all don't give number. You just say the volume should be high volume of what, okay? Number of tank high or more. Then can withstand pressure. So this is the way how you all give. And then lastly, only you choose, I choose P because P have one. So this is the way how you all answer essay question in SPM. And we straight away go through the answer together. So like teacher mentioned, it's streamline. Why? To reduce air or water resistance. Then big volume of ballast tank. I think this typo. Okay, then more water can move in and increase the total weight of the SP lah. Then more air tank, you can supply more air, push more water out of the tank to produce more upthrust. So as you all know, this submarine idea is when you fill up with water, then they will be heavy. So if they're heavy, then they will be greater than the buoyant force. Then they will submerge. Similarly, when this water is filled up with air, so now your buoyant force is much more greater than the weight. Then it will actually rises. So this is how you all get the concept lah. Then high maximum pressure law that can be withstood, okay, to withstand high pressure of deep water. Then like I say, you say what you choose. Then you give back all the four aspects. Then you get another marks. So I will say try to choose correctly. Of course, question 9 and 10, you all read through the question before you answer because you only need to choose one question and answer. Clear? But if you want to answer both, basically can. Then when they mark your paper, they will choose the highest mark lah, by right. So this is the idea behind it. Okay, but do not be greedy in the sense that, I want to answer all questions, because you may not know your time is enough or not enough. Always go through both questions, and then you see which one you have more idea or concept, you love it more, then only you answer those questions. Good. Then one more part under this is conceptual idea. You need to have some physics concept, then only you can answer one. So it is 4 marks questions lah. Okay, so diagram 10.2 show a person pushing a ball below the surface of the water. When released, the ball rush upward out of the water. Explain how this occur. Okay, so why it move up? Of course, generally, when you release, right, why object will move up? Okay, is because your buoyant force which acted upward, right, is greater than the weight of its object, right? The buoyant force is greater. Okay, so that's why you need to have this concept to explain. Okay, or if you're aware, you can use the density concept also, because any object which is less than, they will float and they will move up lah. Okay, so how do you answer? First, you all say the ball actually displaces water when it's immersed in the water. And then based on Archimedes' principle, buoyant force is equal to weight of water displaced. And therefore, the ball rush up as it had lower density than water. and the buoyant force is more than the weight of the ball. Just now I got mentioned, right? Your buoyant force is much more greater than the weight. That's why the ball will have a net force upward. That's why it rises up. But if the ball is just at rest, then the buoyant force is equal to the weight lah. You can mention this. You can link with the resultant force idea. Yeah, so this is the idea when you're answering if the object is rises or submerged. If submerged, then the weight of object is, let's say you have the case hey, how come the ball actually sink? They say sink. Then you just wipe the sound only. Now you say the weight is greater than the buoyant force. Okay, so you can always tell the relationship. So of course you need to know what is the force that acted on the object when the object is immersed in the fluid lah. Okay, so I hope that you all know how to answer this kind of conceptual questions by giving the correct key point. Okay, so for the last question, question 11, this essay is under section C, essay questions. There is only one question. There is no choice, so it's compulsory answer. And we actually don't know whether it's actually from 4 questions or from 5 questions. Okay, so the Selangor State Paper 2021, basically they are taking the from 4 chapter 6 light topic, which is relating to this refraction idea and also total internal reflections. So let's go through the questions together. Diagram 11.1 and 11.2 show refraction of light through 2 medium of different density. And the refractive index of medium X and Y are 1.51 and 2.05 respectively. So same thing, they always will start by asking definition or what is this law by asking you all the knowledge idea lah. So what is the meaning of refractive index? So basically you can have 3 ways to calculate refractive index whereby you can use the formula of the formula which is psi I over psi R, or you can use speed of light in vacuum over speed of light in medium, or even real depth over apparent depth to calculate the refractive index. So for definition, we will use the idea of the ratio of what? Speed of light in vacuum is to speed of light in the medium. So this is the definitions of refractive index. Okay, moving on. For this section C essay question, they will have this comparison question, which is consists of 5 marks, which is similar like a structured question, question 5 and 6. They will ask you all to compare lah. Okay, so based on diagram 11.1 and 11.2, compare the refracted angle, refractive index, and the density between medium X and Y. Okay, of course, you all need to know what is incident angle, what is refracted angle. So the ray that strike is called incident ray, hence this angle is called incident angle. And the angle that in another medium which is the refracted ray and normal line. Always bear in mind, normal and the ray. We call it refracted angle. So this is R. This is R. So obviously for the first idea regarding the refracted angle, so this angle will be lower lah. This one is higher, correct? Then regarding refractive index, it will be from here. They already tell you what in the questions. Maybe you don't know what is this refractive index. So basically this refractive index is a constant value whereby all different material that will have their respective refractive index. Okay, example, glass is about 1.51 and diamond is about 2.4 like that. Yeah, so different medium, they will have different refractive index. So hence, X will have lower refractive index, but Y will have higher for refractive index idea. And lastly, density is related to refractive index. If their refractive index is lower, their density also will be lower. Similarly, if higher, then higher. Okay, hence, you all will able to give the first 3 idea. Refracted angle in medium X is greater. Then refractive index for medium X is lesser. Then density of medium for X is also lower. Or you all can use the term greater. Or even you use the signs lah, greater sign or lower sign. Then based on these three statements, right, you relate the angle, refracted angle with refractive index. So obviously you see the relationship when x bigger for refracted angle, refractive index is smaller. So hence you can say the bigger the refracted angle, the smaller the refractive index. And the last idea regarding refractive index and the density, you will have smaller, or in this context, you also can use directly proportional. The fourth point, you can use inversely. The last point, you can use the terms directly proportional. So we finish the part for comparison. Then moving on, part C. Okay, so it's also called 10 marks questions, but this type of 10 mark question, they require student to give suggestion. Okay, so normally questions will look like this. Okay, you are giving some material object like this one, optical fiber, and you are assigned to give suggestions on the characteristic of the optical fiber so that it can be used in communication and medicine. And then state and explain your suggestion based on the following aspect: features of optical fiber, comparison between refractive index and the inner core of the outer cladding, flexibility, purity of inner core, additional features. So if they give you 5 expect or suggestion straight away, right? So you no need to worry, okay? So you just need to elaborate on this 5, expect, and also explain will do. But sometimes these type of questions, right, they may give you 1, 2, 3 only. Or then you have to think out of each part may have 2 expect and 2 explanation. Okay, so features of this optical fiber. So basically, this optical fiber is a very fine strand of glass. They are very thin and very small. Okay, but they have this ability to have total internal reflections to occur. Do you notice there is all this red color, right? That pointing is where this total internal reflection can occur. One. That means the ray can reflect innerly or continuously. Okay, and not only they're made by this glass, and they are also material which are very strong and they are quite flexible. So if you were to send more informations, okay, under communications, like this unify, so you need to have more strength or bundle means you not only have one strand of these fibers, you will have a lot, yes, in a bundle. Okay, so you can explain that more information can be sent through. Okay, then to have total internal reflections to occur, or they have a few criteria. One, okay, they have 2 criteria. One, the ray must travel from denser to less than medium. Then another one, the critical angle must more than incident angle of the material. Okay, so therefore the refractive index between the inner and outer. Okay, so the inner will be denser, which is a higher refractive index and a refractive index, while outer layer, they have to be lower refractive index. Okay, why? So that total internal reflections can occur. If the other way around, then you cannot have the idea for total internal reflections. Okay, moving on to point, flexibility. Okay, so in medical field, this fiber optics is used as an endoscope. So you want to plug in or from the throat, go into your internal organ and check out any problems or not. So of course, it is what means good that it actually flexible so that you can bend, right? It goes straight, it's kind of dangerous, right? So that's why you can say high flexibility, easily bend. So purity of inner core. Okay, if there is some impurity inside, so what means the ray that travel inside, right, they will be affected, which they are being disturbed. So that's why there may be some information loss. So that's why the purity confirm have to be high. And what is other additional features? So this point, if you were to have more idea, you can always give more. You can like describe maybe the material strong. So it will be not easily break. Or you have any others idea, or and because you want to add something, so this fiber optics is not only by the glass. They may need to have lenses, so to magnify even the what you see inside the organs. So let's go through the answer together. So the first one, bundle, more signal are reflected. Okay, then the refractive index of inner core is higher, or vice versa, you say the outer core is lower, so that total internal reflections can occur. Then high flexibility, so that the fiber can bend easily. Then high purity of inner core, reduce the signal loss, and like I say, you must have light source, camera, or even lenses, or like I say, actually acceptable one to be able to view the internal organ, or the image will be brighter if you would to add on the light source, yeah, or other than just the light from the surrounding. Okay, so this is how you answer these 10 marks questions lah. Okay, lastly, for part D, diagram 11.4 shows a light ray propagate toward a glass prism which have refractive index of 1.5. So explain what will happen to the light ray at point B if this angle X is 30 or this angle X is 50. Of course, this angle is also known as incident angle first. Okay, so again, like I mentioned just now, if you were to have critical angle which is more than incident angle, then the concept is total internal reflection occur. But what if the critical less than the incident angle? Then normal refractions actually occurs. So in order for you to explain this idea, right, you have to find out what is the critical angle first. So the formula that link a refractive index with critical angle is 1 over sine C. So the refractive index in this case is 1.5 equal to 1 over sine C. So sine C equals to 1 over 1.5. But I don't want sine C. I want C, the critical angle. So you shift sine answer. You will get about 41.81 degree. Okay, so if your incident angle, this I now, okay, they are actually less than 41. Like I say, what is the phenomenon occurs? Refractions. But it is more than that, then total internal reflections occurs. So of course, you can show out the calculation for critical angle, or because you memang calculate side, so you can straight give the explanation. So for part 1, refractions occurs as incident angle less than critical angle. So you have to tell the relationship lah. While part 2, okay, total internal reflections take place whereby incident angle is more than critical angle. Also, this is like a conceptual questions that you have to get the idea what is so-called total internal reflections. Okay, so that's it for the whole questions for these questions 11 in section C essay questions. Okay, so that's it. We actually complete the whole state paper for Selangor. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.